Olivia Chow is the new mayor of Toronto, and you might like that or not like that, but that is the reality moving forward. And on today's video, I want to talk about her plan for housing. How is the Toronto real estate market going to change or transform now that Olivia Chow is the mayor? I personally think on the housing side of things, she's got a job which is almost impossible. I don't want to be pessimistic about the Toronto housing market in terms of affordability, but it's just so far gone at this point that I think even if she has all the best intentions, it's going to be very hard to find the budget needed actually to make a dent in things, but I hope I'm wrong. Thanks for being back here on the channel. My name is Tom Storey. I make educational real estate videos about the city of Toronto. If you find this information valuable in this video, all I ask is you hit that thumbs up button. It would really help the channel and the algorithm. Show this video to other awesome people like you. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to the channel. If you are looking to buy or sell in the Toronto real estate market, you can go into the first link in the description, book a call with me or one of the specialists that work on my team. The race for who was going to be Toronto's next mayor was actually very much closer at the end than I think a lot of people thought. And with Chow winning, the conversations I've had with people, some people are like all for it. They're super pumped. And then the other side of the argument is like completely against everything she wants to do. And it all comes down to life situation. Do you already own real estate? Are you a renter? You know, what is important to you? But the voters voted, and here we are. And obviously she had the name recognition. A lot of people that I talked to had no idea who else was running, and that's why they voted for her. And frankly, if you live in this city and you didn't vote, you should have no opinions moving forward about anything that she does because your voice was not heard. So let's run through all the promises that she made and see what is next for Toronto real estate. Okay, off the bat here, I just wanted to share this tweet that I saw. I thought this was really interesting, and maybe, you know, we just love a good brand name in Toronto. If you live in Toronto, you live in a city whose mayor is most notable for being the wife of another politician, a province whose premier is most notable for being the brother of another politician, and a country whose prime minister is most notable for being the son of another politician. I don't know. This is interesting to me. I just thought this funny. I wanted to show you this at the beginning of this video. Something to think about. And maybe we just love a good brand name here in Toronto. Okay, so on July 12th, Chow plans to take office officially. So we know that moving forward, she's going to be the new mayor officially on July the 12th. Being the mayor of Toronto is one thing, but having a good communication base with the Premier of Ontario is another thing to actually make change happen. Now, this article and this statement came out from Ford before Chow officially won. And he said, Olivia Chow as Toronto's mayor would be an unmitigated disaster. Very, very strong words coming from our premier. A lot of people would maybe argue the same thing to him, but that's a whole nother conversation. So right off the bat, you knew that they did not see eye to eye on most issues. So this is going to be an interesting story moving forward. Once she won, one of the first things she was asked about is her relationship with Ford. And she said she's going to try and find common ground. And I think that's good. Whether you wanted Olivia to win or you wanted someone else to win the race for mayor, I think her in partnership with Ford needs to happen for change to actually be made, especially on the affordable housing side of things. Now let's review some of the campaign promises Olivia made, and let's see if we can hold her accountable to them. And the first one is affordable housing. She came out with the Secure Affordable Homes Plan, which is a $100 million fund helping nonprofits buy buildings and then rent them to lower income earners. So this was already a plan in place with the city, but the yearly budget was $10 million. So she's vowing to 10x the budget for these nonprofits to buy more buildings for people that need this more affordable housing. And on the surface level, it's like, who could argue with that? That makes a lot of sense. I think that is great. She also wants to create a Toronto Renters Action Committee at City Hall. But the question most people had, especially a lot of people running against her, was like, this is great. Where's the money actually coming from? And that takes us to our next few points. It's been no secret from day one of her campaign for mayor that she wants to raise property taxes. So John Tory did everything possible not to raise property taxes during his time as our mayor. And she's coming in and she's got a whole different philosophy on it. So she also said that she's got quite a bit of time to consider what she's going to do, and she continuously used the word modest. If you look at property taxes based on home values in Toronto and you compare them to Markham or Durham, we are much, much lower. she's now saying she wants to increase those property taxes. She also repeatedly declined to say how much she was going to raise property taxes, but it's going to be in the city's budget next March in 2024. So get ready for that. If you own real estate in Toronto, it's basically a guarantee your property taxes are going to go up next year. Next up is the luxury tax. Now, I took a screenshot of this article, which was from 2014. So this is something she's had on her mind for a long, long time. And basically for the land transfer tax, if you go over a certain amount of money, she wants to charge you more money on the municipal side of the land transfer tax. It goes without saying that Toronto land transfer tax is already, in my opinion, insane. What we have to pay to buy housing makes it less affordable and makes people move less often. And I'll give you an example here in a second. So specifically what she's talking about with the luxury tax, she wants to boost the rent supplement. So we talk about at the beginning here, the affordable housing. Where's that $100 million going to come from? Well, property tax is one thing, but then luxury tax is a second thing. So basically what she's saying is that any homes that sell over $3 million in the city of Toronto are going to be charged more a luxury tax on the municipal land transfer side of things. But then she made it very clear that only 2% of homeowners will be impacted by this new tax. I don't agree with all the things that she's running on. I do agree with some, but certainly not all. But I think this was a really smart way of going about it. Now, here's my issue. The luxury tax is not an issue. I think most people are like, yeah, okay, rich people get charged more tax. By all means, do it. I think most people you talk to would be on board for that. That's not my issue at all. My issue is the fact that she wants to add more tax to the land transfer tax. I know it's just the rich people, but let's break this down for a second. I'll give you my own scenario. So I lived in a property that I sold for $1.3 million at the end of last year. I purchased a new home for $1.8 million. Now, to keep in mind, these were not my first home purchases. I started with a condo at $360,000 when I was single. My life's different now. I have a wife, I have a kid, so we have dual income. So I was able to make that jump when it made sense. For me to buy that house for $1.8 million, let alone the down payment and the property taxes, my land transfer tax was $60,000. $60,000. So let's go through a scenario, right? Let's say somebody purchased a starter home in an area they wanted to be in and they paid, I don't know, $900,000 to $1.2 million for it. Now, their land transfer tax on that was already $30,000. And then they have kid number 2 or maybe kid number 3, and they need more space. And they think, okay, the kids are already in school. We have to stay in this school district. We don't want to move outside the city because of all the things going on. It's mostly related to the kids, right? But we need a bigger house, and they need to jump up to the next house. Well, it's going to cost them $60,000 to $80,000 just in land transfer tax to get the next house. So what am I getting at with all this? It's locking up inventory. If land transfer tax was taken away, or at least the municipal side, because paying double in Toronto is insane, it would unlock more inventory. People would move more. We're complaining that there's no homes to buy. You know why there's no homes to buy? Because it's goddamn expensive to move. Okay, rant over on this. By the way, in 2014, she also talked about the luxury tax, but at that point, it was only $2 million. Now it is anything over $3 million. The last thing she talked about was the vacant home tax. Vacant home tax that we saw happen in BC several years ago that showed it did nothing for housing affordability. And not that many people actually paid for it this year in Toronto. I think the numbers were very, very low. So right now, the vacant home tax is 1% of your assessed value, but your assessed value will go up if property taxes go up as well. So that 1% is higher. That's not the issue here. She wants to take that 1% to 3%. So how are we going to find the funds for affordable housing? Well, the plan in place here by our new mayor. So the plan is to increase property taxes on everybody, to increase land transfer tax on homes over $3 million, and increase the vacant home tax from 1% to 3%. That's where this budget for the affordable housing is going to come from. The final thing I want to talk about is creating more inventory. She's made it clear publicly that she wants this to be easy and fast to bring more inventory to the market and build. If you want to build with the new zoning allowed in Toronto for 4 dwelling units, go for it. And by the way, I have no issue with this either. I think this is great, but this is leaving it on the public, saying, you guys figure out the situation. I would say if you are watching this video and you own a home and you can do this, talk to some contractors and see what it costs you. And very quickly, you're going to be like, I don't know if this makes sense. Replacement cost is so important in this equation here. So I think this upzoning of everything is great. I really do. I think it took a lot of confidence from the city to do this. And I like the fact that she's backing this. This is probably one of the only things that her and Ford are in agreement on. So there you go. That's the rundown, at least of what she's promised she's going to do. I hope that she helps with the affordable housing side of things, because we are in a housing crisis here in the city, and she's got a very tough job ahead of her. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'd love to know in the comments how you feel about her being mayor. Is this a good thing? Is this a bad thing? Let me know. I'll hang out there and we'll have some fun in the comments. Thank you so much for watching this video. My name is Tom Storey, and remember, home is where your story begins.